It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting at Council Bluffs, online at the newly renovated joeskarting.com, and also the newly renovated track over there at Joe's Karting. Yeah, get over to Joe's Karting. I got to give those guys credit because I think they've redesigned that track now 3 or 4 times, and no other karting place I've known. I remember when I was a little kid out there on Highway 92, that chicken goat karting place never changed. It was the same track. But Joe's changes it up, so that way you don't get bored or used to the track. Now you've got to go back in and you got to find those little areas that shave off times.
Also gives somebody a chance to have a new track record.
Yes, it does. And that is Dirk Houston, co-host for the front stretch, and we're glad you're joining us this morning. We've got an action-packed show lined up for you today. Dirk, what do we have?
Well, in turn 1, we're going to recap Phoenix. We'll cover the point standings now that we've had 4 points races, with Kevin Harvicks being the dominator.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little NASCAR news. In turn 2, we're going to interview John Anderson. He's a nice talk with him today. Turn 3, we've got PJ Pederson, the announcer from Crawford County Speedway, about the Deery Brothers show that's coming up here the first weekend of April. Mm-hmm. And in turn 4, we will preview California there at Auto Club Speedway. We will update the Pick'em contest and review rules and winners. And we'll speak with Mr. Fantasy Chad Robb about his trip to California and thoughts on the next few races.
Should be a good show lined up for you today. Turn number 1 is presented by Kansas Speedway. Tickets for the SpongeBob SquarePants 400 night race Saturday night, May 9th, are available now. Call 866-460-RACE. Or visit KansasSpeedway.com. I had a friend of mine come up to me the other day. It's a Pick'em's contestant, and said, I heard tickets for the Kansas race are $200. I can't afford to go there. I can't afford to go. So we went to the KansasSpeedway.com. We looked it up, and there is a ticket package for all 4 races at Kansas Speedway, this coming race weekend and next race weekend, sitting up into turn number 4, up in the air where you could see the entire track, for $200. That's 4 races for $200. So yes, you can get tickets at Kansas Speedway for $200. But the great thing is that tickets for the Saturday night, May 9th race, the SpongeBob SquarePants 400, start at $99. And that's a great value for going out. My brother-in-law took his 2 sons, my new nephews, down to Kansas Speedway last year to the October race, and they're hooked now. They're going all the time now.
Well, it's a fabulous facility to watch it race. I mean, I saw the very first race there and have been to most of them, and I love the place. I think they do a great job with traffic. You still, if you got 70,000 people, you still got a traffic jam. Yeah. But I've been to tracks where that traffic jam was 24 hours of traffic jam, where down there it won't be like that. They're right by the interstate. They get you out and get you on your way so you can stay and watch the checkered flag.
And that's one thing that I'm kind of a grouch about, especially after a long weekend of being down there. I want to get home. I want to get on the road. I want to make that 3-hour drive north, or that 2.5-hour drive north, or the 2-hour drive north if you got the foot like I got.
Keep going.
Maybe one day I'll break the 1.5-hour record, but I think I might end up in jail first. But being situated, they planned it perfectly. They put it right on the intersection of 2 interstates. So no matter which direction you're heading, you've got interstate to be able to they hop right on the interstate, and it's full throttle all the way home.
And buggy.
Yep, and so it's a great location. Get to KansasSpeedway.com or call 866-460-RACE to get your tickets for the SpongeBob SquarePants 400 night race Saturday night, May 9th at Kansas Speedway. Well, there's not a lot you could say about Phoenix except Dale Jr. hurt a lot of Pick'em's contestants. Well, probably about 4 or 5 of them. Expected to see more out of Jimmy Johnson. Not surprised at all about Kevin Harvicks. Harvick. Holy cow. Cars that struggled. I talked about a Dale Jr. He didn't have a bad car, but kind of had an evil car. It was pretty loose, and he was running hard on that rear tire, and eventually she gave out and blew, and his day was over with, especially when it caught on fire like that. He finished 43rd and got several Pick'em's contestants just 1 single point. Brian Vickers, on his second race back from heart surgery, finished 41st. Tony Stewart continues to struggle. He was having a good day, but then just as they start talking about Tony Stewart having a good day, he gets into the wall.
Well, and he just got up. I think he was running 10th or 11th. He just got up to where, he could start racing. Mm-hmm. He'd kind of been mired back around 20th earlier, and just lost it.
Iowa's own Brett Moffitt finishes 32nd. Greg Biffle 27th. Clint Boyer 24th. Denny Hamlin 23rd. A lot of drivers back there that these guys seem to be struggling, yet they've been perennial powerhouses for the last 5 years. Guys you expect to see up front.
Well, you got the new car. The rules changes, and some guys are having a little bit of trouble adapting, and it might not be the driver as much as the crew chief.
Yeah.
So.
And Toyota kind of seems to be struggling to me. Maybe early on. Clint Boyer talked about he just doesn't have the power coming off the corners. Usually that's Kyle Busch that's screaming about that, and the lack of horsepower in his Toyotas. But Clint's taking the reins since the old shrub is healing.
Well, if you go back and look at last year, it's not like Toyota did any dominating last year. Mm-hmm. You had Penske winning, I think, 11 races, and between the Hendricks camp, when you include Harvick and that bunch.
The Stewart-Haas Racing organization, since they get their engines right from
they had a huge bunch of wins, so, with Chevrolet. So
I guess you're right. Toyota really hasn't dominated since Kenseth's run, 2 years ago when he won 6 races?
6 or 7.
Yeah.
He won a bunch.
He won a lot. Your top 10, though, Kevin Harvick did end up getting the win, leading 224 of the 312 laps. Jamie McMurray gave him a good fight there at the end, trying to get that win. And, boy, he just, probably an inch, 2 inches, maybe 3 inches, he'd have had Kevin cleared, and I think it would have been tough for Kevin to get back around him.
Well, you never know, what Kevin would have done to get back around him.
That's very true.
But, I think the cars were pretty even. So it's hard telling how that would have ended. It would have been interesting, though.
What are we at now? 8 races in a row that Kevin Harvick or 7 races in a row that Kevin Harvick has finished in the top 2? That's got to be a record. I mean, even with the King, that's got to be a record.
I haven't heard anything on that. They were talking the other day. I'm trying to remember who the driver was. Somebody, I want to say Sam Ard maybe, had it was a silly amount of races. It was like 40 races in the top 10.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, Kevin had that race at Texas that no, it wasn't Texas. It was the race before that he got wrecked out, and that was the reason why he had to have a good. Okay, it was Atlanta. He had to have a good Texas, which I think he finished 2nd place, and then he won Phoenix, which got him into the championship round. So, so Jamie McMurray comes home 2nd. Good run for Ryan Newman. He continues his good fortunes as his season kind of carries over from the end of last year, and he was battling for a championship. He comes home in 3rd. Casey Kane in 4th. Kurt Busch, returning from suspension, gets a top 5 finish. He had a winnable car.
Yes, he did.
Ran it a little bit too hard and ran the tires off that car. Had to kind of conserve it a little bit at the end, but still a good car. Brad Keselowski, 6th place. Martin Truex Jr., 7th. Joey Logano, 8th. Jeff Gordon, 9th. And Kyle Larson rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt did a good job on his first race back. He
Absolutely.
Ain't like he was out practicing somewhere.
And that was, did you watch the pre-race interview that he and Chris Myers did? On Fox's pre-race show?
Yes.
Very poignant, and I thought he did a very good job with it. He seems to be coming to reality that his temperament is wearing thin on people.
Well, he always does once he has the problem. It's a year down the road.
It's very true.
To see what happens, what he remembers.
It may have been a whole different story if he had a bad car that week, last weekend at Phoenix, but he had a good car, a winnable car, and it just fortunes didn't lay out in his favor, and quite frankly, not many people had the car for Kevin Harvick. I think maybe Brad Keselowski, maybe Kurt Busch, because Kurt copied his setup, from what I understand.
Well, but even at that point, I mean, a 64th of an inch or something on a shock mount or something like that can make just all the difference on one of these cars.
Kevin Harvick continues to lock himself into the 2015 chase for the Sprint Cup as he has his 2nd win in the season and is your points leader. Joey Logano is in 2nd. Martin Truex Jr., Casey Kane, and A.J. Allmendinger round out the top 5. Dale Jr. is in 6th, and next locked-in person, Jimmy Johnson, at 7th place. And I say locked in, that's pretty tentative, because if we go on a run and have more than 16 race winners, then it's going to come down to number of race wins, much like we're going to have to talk about in Turn 4 with the Pick'ems contest.
Well, I think Jimmy's safe. I expect them to win probably 3 races, a minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Except he had a rough day on Sunday. He just couldn't quite seem to stay out of trouble.
Wow.
And nothing that was his fault, but lap 1, 2 times in the pits he had issues, but still comes home with a good finish. And that's Jimmy Johnson for you.
And I believe the new pit road rules seem to be working. There's just a lot of penalties getting called. You know, I mean, they are cleaning house on that pit road.
That new system, is it me or is it working pretty flawlessly?
Well, I don't know about flawlessly because they haven't said they've had any issues with it. I just noticed that there happens to be, a lot of penalties getting called, and they said that's why they were doing it, because there was so much being missed.
Something I didn't quite realize was that they actually rolled this system out, the final 10 races last year, and tested it out, and then gave the teams during the offseason, said these are the top 5 things we are finding that the system is penalizing you the most for, and gave the teams the opportunity to address that. And the number one thing, guys over the wall too soon.
Well, they got Brendan Gaughan on that in the Xfinity race on Saturday, and I mean, it was very, very close, but they all are. Those guys are getting over there as quick as they can, and Brendan rebounded and got himself a top 10 finish. But yeah, that was one of the big issues, and it's hard to tell.
Yeah. While we wait for John Anderson to give us a call, we'll continue through here for a few more minutes as we'll talk some NASCAR news. I talked to you about this earlier in the week. Michael Waltrip Racing tire changer lawsuit continues, and I'm not so much fixated on the lawsuit itself, which is, one of those typical lawsuits of you fired me improperly. No, we fired you because of this. Well, you fired me because of a health issue and blah, blah, blah. But what kind of struck me was that this employee, according to the court filings, this tire changer made $160,000 a year, as according to his contract. He made $50,000 as a base salary as a Michael Waltrip Racing employee. As an over-the-wall crew member, he made $97,000, and there was a free fee to participate in the team's training program of $13,000. It was a 2-year deal signed in 2013 for Clint Boyer's team. $160,000. That seems like a lot more than I would expect a tire changer to get paid in this world.
Well, it's a professional athlete.
Yeah.
So you paid for performance. So if he's good, he's obviously going to get paid more than if he's not quite so good. That doesn't mean the guys on the cars, running, 36th and 37th are making that kind of money, of course, unless it's Dale Jr.'s car running back there. But, the money's good. The bonuses can be very substantial. There was a crewman that we knew that worked for Kurt Busch back in 02-03 whenever Kurt won the title, and his year-end performance bonus for winning the title was $60,000.
Oh, wow. I wonder if because that might have perturbed a couple of those guys on Kevin Harvick's team that was replaced the last, was it during the chase it was replaced for the chase run?
Right, yeah.
That they were with Kevin for the first 26 races, but then again, they weren't getting the job done. Kevin was having a tough time beating people off pit road.
And you don't know, a lot of those multi-car teams have a bonus that's set up not for the individual team, but for the whole shop.
Oh.
Because they share so much information and setups and everything. So, and that might be the case over there where it didn't make any difference.
I guess I was kind of figuring that right around where his employee base salary of $50,000 was where I kind of figured these guys were at. But, I guess I'm not knocking it all. I guess I'm just surprised that a guy who goes over the wall, changes 2 tires, and then goes back over the wall, but does it nonstop and then works in the shop throughout the week. $160,000, I might do a career change.
Well, it sounds like at that $97,000 for going over the wall, it sounds like he probably makes about $3,000 a weekend that he's on the road. Mm-hmm. He probably they probably don't count him on the road when they're racing there at Charlotte twice, and depending on exactly where he lives, maybe Darlington or something like that. But the $50,000, he's obviously been around a while, because I was going to say these jobs normally start about 30. Mm-hmm. And then depending on exactly what he does, he might be a general mechanic, he might be a specialty fabricator of some kind. But the over-the-wall guys, he probably doesn't get a day off during the week unless there's no race that weekend.
Yeah, very true. Sad news. Jesse Jones hot dogs no longer at Martinsville Speedway. Means nothing to me, but for a guy who's probably spent some time at Martinsville, probably eaten a couple of hot dogs down there.
A couple dogs there.
Is that tragedy? Has it struck?
I'm not an aficionado on a hot dog.
Okay.
They were good dogs.
Yeah. I've always heard that the Martinsville hot dog is one of the reasons why you go to Martinsville Speedway.
The Martinsville dogs was something you had to try, and you had to eat a bologna burger if you went to South Boston Speedway. You've heard Elliott Sadler's story where he ate like 700 of them one time or something like. No, it was like 19 of them. And it's just a slab of bologna that's roughly a half-inch thick that they throw in a couple pieces of bread. They grill it up and call it a bologna burger.
Clay Campbell, who is a representative for Martinsville Speedway, says, does anybody think I'm crazy enough to change something so iconic and so cherished as the famous Martinsville Speedway hot dog? We're not in the habit of taking steps backwards. We're going to be moving forwards. Fans will still have the famous Martinsville Speedway hot dog. It'll just be as good as it's always been. I assure you that. That sounds like a political statement if I've ever heard one. But you know what? I hope to get down there someday to Martinsville, so maybe I could try one of these hot dogs one of these times.
We'll have to ask Tommy Ackerman here and talk to him when we get to Iowa.
Yeah, when we get to Iowa Speedway and check out that. Marcus Ambrose has decided to step out of his V8 supercar ride. Did you see this report earlier in the week?
No, I haven't read that.
I don't know much about V8 supercars down in Australia, but from what I've been able to read from the article, he just feels like he's not up to snuff yet, so he wants to step out and get more prepared before he gets back into the car and really competes, because apparently he's been struggling in the first 2 races.
Well, that could definitely be. I mean, as far as I understand, that whole deal is still part of Petty Motorsports, and I don't know if those cars run the left side drive or the right side drive. If he's going back to the other side and driving, maybe he's having some issues.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back in turn number 2. We're going to talk to John Anderson about his time in the seat behind a lot of cars around here in the Midwest. Turn number 3, we'll talk to PJ Pederson, the announcer at Crawford County Speedway. We'll talk Deery Brothers and so much more down at Crawford County Speedway. And then in turn number 4, we'll talk to Chad Robb, Mr. Fantasy, about your picks for this weekend at Auto Club Speedway. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
This is Andrew from Kosiski Auto Parts. Kosiski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kosiski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kosiski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kosiski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
Sports fans, the brightest stars of NASCAR are about to light up the night again at Kansas Speedway. Megastars Dave, Danica, Carl, Clint, Jeff, and more. Saturday, May 9th, it's our second annual NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race. Parking is free and coolers welcome. Tickets on sale now with even more seats for $99 or less. Kids tickets just $29. Call 866-460-RACE or visit kansasspeedway.com today.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to The Front Stretch. Heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Kosiski Auto. The Spring Meltdown just around the corner. Make sure you get your tickets at i-80speedway.com. April 3rd and 4th. Lots of great racing going on over at I-80 Speedway for the Spring Meltdown. Make sure you get your tickets today, which you can purchase those online right now. So i-80speedway.com. The Spring Meltdown feature Nebraska 360 sprint cars, A-mods, stock cars, and Pro-Ams on Friday and Saturday. Gate times change depending on the night. So on Friday it's 7:15. On Saturday it's going to be 6 o'clock. So make sure you get your tickets today, because these tickets are going to go fast as beautiful weather. And we're talking to a guy now who I think maybe he would love to be turning laps April 3rd and 4th at I-80 Speedway. John Anderson, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, and you're actually exactly right. I'd love to be able to do that.
And it's great to be back to dirt racing season. It seemed like we weren't going to quite get that cold weather away, but all of a sudden, Mother Nature snapped her fingers, and we've got beautiful weather again. Yeah,
it sure is. It's been really nice. Been obviously unseasonably warm, and definitely gets people thinking about racing a little more, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a great turnout.
Well, John, you said you'd like to be doing that. Are you going to be down there the 3rd and the 4th, or you got something else going on?
No. I started a new endeavor, and I hadn't thought much about racing, but, you start advertising, talking about going to I-80 over over the winter, and it's coming up fast. And for me, yeah, luckily I'm going to do a little bit less racing, but a lot more of where I really like to go to, and I'd love to hit every race at I-80 and all the specials and that, and so that's kind of what we're planning on doing.
So let's talk about this new endeavor you just kind of hinted to. What do you got going on there? Did you start a lawn mowing service or a lemonade stand? What do you got going on?
Yeah, neither. Actually, I started a little cafe. The guy I drive for, Bill Coons, he's got 5 of them, and we just kind of joked about it one day, and I started pursuing it a little more. He gave me a great opportunity to give it a whirl, and I don't have any idea how he does it because it's an animal, and my brain doesn't function that fast, but it's been a great time for me and my family to work together and have a little cafe going. It's pretty fun.
And the next thing you know, John's a millionaire.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I talked to some of the customers, and I never really wanted to be a millionaire. It's just money doesn't drive me a whole lot, but kind of do what I've always wanted to, and the opportunity came up, so here I am.
So this little cafe, is it kind of one of those classic mom and pop shops where things just, whatever you've got, it's delicious and probably not the most healthy, but come on, that's where the good food's at.
Yeah, exactly. It's, we got an array of menu items, a really good menu, and yes, it is definitely a mom and pop thing. We do a lot of our own cooking. I just made a brand new roast and a brand new turkey to serve for tomorrow. So, it works out good. My dad, he's like 78, I believe. He happened to come visit us, so we put him to work. He does dishes, and, it's a great time.
Even you put your dad to work, huh?
Yeah, he did it to me when I was young, so he gets to do it when he's older.
So where's the cafe located at?
It's actually one block south of 90th and Fort on 90th right there on the west side of the street. Tucked back in there a little bit, but nice little hidden gym that's working out well.
Library Pub's right in there too, right?
Yeah, actually, we're neighbors, so we're right next door to each other, right across the street from Taco Bell and the library, and right in that little area there.
Do you have any of your trophies or racing memorabilia hung on the wall that us race fans could go in and gawk at?
I don't. I didn't quite bring that decor to it, just because I wanted this new little endeavor and a little more family-oriented type thing, but there's plenty of racing stories going around there, that's for sure. Get a lot of people showing up, and it's a lot of fun, really.
Well, we're talking with John Anderson, a hot shoe for the last 20, 30 years here in the Midwest. John, what do you got planned so far for your race schedule this year? Are you going to hit up a couple of specials? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, I'm not going to run for points anywhere. I'm going to do a lot of all the specials at I-80 in the general area. It's a new endeavor for me, so I want to be home and close, so I don't want to do a whole lot of traveling. So I'm going to drive a few times for Bill Coons, and we're going to he's going to do the entire SLMR series. I'm going to do a lot of them, because I've always said I'm a huge race fan, so I want to support it, and hopefully any way I can to keep that going. They're doing a great job. I got a great relationship with Jay Burdick, who sponsors that series and the Kaziskis forever. So I want to do anything I can do to help that. And then I'm going to do some MLRAs and different shows like that. Obviously, I can't wait for the Silver Dollar Nationals, and just kind of pick and choose and be ready to race when I get there, and hopefully it turns out okay.
Well, and you've also got, if you get out and maybe score a couple wins in that SLMR, you can always run some more races.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said before, I don't know how Bill wraps his head around all of this. It's hard for me to think of, but yeah, he keeps pushing that maybe we need to do the whole thing. And just like you said, if you roll out there and have a couple good runs, who knows what will happen, and I'm getting better at what I'm doing, so that may end where we end up. I'm not exactly sure just yet.
Well, it'd be great to see out there and give it a third or a fourth guy that's really battling for wins, because right now it's Kyle Burke and Tad Postpistol, and every once in a while there's a couple of guys that pop in there and get a win, but it'd be nice to see somebody upset those two with wins every once in a while.
Yeah, they're obviously pretty good at what they're doing. And we had a couple good runs against them last year, and it was quite rewarding because they know the ins and outs of the rules and all that type of stuff, and tailored their whole race program to it, and to be able to go and race with them, it was pretty fun.
Well, I think Rick and Joe and everybody's done a real good job with that rules package, with those restrictors and everything on the intake manifolds and stuff. It seems like you can be competitive with just about anything out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that. Me and Bill were just talking about it. He was talking to our engine builder there, and he had just dynoed the new restrictor we have to use, and exactly. I mean, the numbers of everything, it seems to be real equal. I've always wondered how they've got that all figured out, but Joe and all of them really do, and it should be fairly equal for everybody.
We're talking with John Anderson again here on the front stretch. If you want to go back and listen to a good old time, we talked to John for about a half an hour back in 2013. I believe the show aired on December 15th of 2013 of the Legends of the Dirt series. We told some pretty good stories about the beginning of your career and some of the great things that you do with youth outreach and in your church. So if you ever want to get a chance, go over to the Joe's Karting YouTube page. You can just search Front Stretch December 15th, and it should be the first one that pops up. John, we do appreciate you joining us on the show, man, and please keep us up to date with what's going on with your cafe.
All right, sounds great. I appreciate all of what you guys do. It's great for the local racing scene.
Well, we're happy to help, and we just love giving back any way we can.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, John. See you at the track.
All right, bye.
So, again, that's John Anderson. Talking to him about his racing this year and his little cafe that he's got going. I always love to kind of get our local businesses, especially, dirt racers that, boy, that guy's probably lost quite a bit of money in racing. A lot of people have. So,
well, he didn't mention I've already stopped into the place, and it's breakfast and lunch. They close at 2:00.
Okay.
And but they are open 7 days a week.
All right, well, maybe we'll have to head over there this morning. They're open Sundays then?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll head over there this morning for breakfast. I do love a good, one of those good old home-cooked breakfasts.
You love a good food.
As this belly tells you, I do love myself some good food. That's why I was a little scared when we read that Martinsville hot dog story. I was worried that they were going to take a step backwards, but they reassured me that it's still going to be just as good as hot dogs. Have you tried the food over at Iowa Speedway, by the way?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have.
Have you been there since they renovated the menu? And they put on a couple of items that they're going to start their own little tradition of amazing food.
2011, I think, was the last time I was there.
Yeah, so they redid the menu in 2014 for the start of last season. And there's some sandwiches and hot dogs, and oh man alive, is it good to watch a race at. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back at turn number 3. PJ Pederson still to come on the show. Announcer of Crawford County Speedway, and we'll talk to Mr. Fantasy, Chad Robb, about his trip to Cali. While we were having good weather, he's over hitting it up with all the hotties over in California, and he's rubbing elbows with the guys over at Yahoo Sports about their fantasy league.
There you go.
By the way, we'll have to talk to him, but our Pick'ems contest is well, I guess it isn't registered, is it? So he can steal it all he wants to. All right, we'll be back here on the front stretch.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Heading into turn number 3 here on the front stretch, and it's time to talk a little dirt track action down in Denison, Iowa, as we talk to the man in the booth, PJ Pederson. How you doing, big guy?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I am just kicking and screaming as always. Appreciate you coming on the show and talking a little dirt track racing. Let's get a little personal business out of the way, and how's the old race team going?
Well, we bought our car back in 2013 and went down to Beatrice last weekend and This time it's got a 5-speed manual instead of an automatic, and it's very, very quick. Unfortunately, we only made 6 laps because a 50-cent part took us out for the rest of the night. So
Yeah, Josh Most has told me that too. He says no matter how much money I pour into a car, it's always a nut or a bolt from somewhere that just busts and ruins my day.
Oh, yeah. In his case, it was a $100 Hoosier, considering what his looked like at the end of the night. But
Oof. How was the racing action down in Beatrice? I didn't get over there. I was busy playing yard fixer at my house.
I'll tell you what, the action was amazing. The modified feature was awesome. Clayton Christensen, he managed to get past Sobbing and Jordan Grabowski and looked for a while there like he was going to have it. And then a restart, he admitted that he himself screwed up just a little bit, just enough to let Jordan go by. And Jordan Grabowski actually doubled up one Friday night and Saturday night both.
Wow, nice. So that was down at Beatrice. Where's your guys' next race for Iron Cobra Racing?
Well, we are actually going to get the car fixed up, and we will be in Denison, Iowa on April 4th for the Deery Brothers Late Model Series, and the support classes will be obviously the Sport Compacts and the stock cars.
And let's talk about that race. Deery Brothers, my memory's rough. It got rained out last year, or I think it got snowed out last year.
It was one or the other. Either way, Mother Nature did not play nice.
Yeah, she has that habit. So
that was the first time in 20 years that series was back. The last time was July of 1994, and late model Hall of Famer Gary Webb actually won that race. I was there that night.
Oh, nice. So now we got racing back there. Scheduled the Deery Brothers to come back this year. So talk about racing action that night, support classes and such.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is an amazing series. This is one of only 3 times they're actually going to be west of I-35 this year. Of course, the other times will be they make a trip to Webster City, and then, of course, their usual Monday night stop at the Super Nationals in Boone. Last year's defending champion, Justin Kay of Wheatland, is going to be there. Daryl DeFrance, this guy is amazing. 434 events that they've had in the Deery Brothers Series, and he has been in every one of them. So wow. I'm guaranteeing he'll be there. And, you got to think that some of these guys that have taken wins in the Deery Brothers Series, when you're talking late model Hall of Famers, you're talking about Gary Webb, Ray Gus Jr. of Milan, Illinois. Obviously names that are going to be very well known to the people in front stretch land. Joe and Steve Kaczynski have wins. Billy Moyer has a couple of wins. You got other guys who may not be Hall of Famers but are still stout and late models. Josh Most has a win in there. Hollywood Jason Haney has a few. Todd Cooney has wins in this series. So, I mean, these are the best of the best in IMCA late models, and they're going to be here Saturday, April 4th.
And that is, and I'm glad you said that because there was a little bit of confusion on that because it is a Saturday night, April 4th show, and looks like grandstand tickets are $15. Grade school, kids from grade school to 12 are in for $5, and kids below, is that kindergarten?
Right.
Get in for free. So, and then pit passes are $30, and the pit gates open at 4:00. How much can we stress right now? Pre-registration.
Well, Dan, you've been up there the last 3 years, and you and I both know when it comes to opening night how long it takes with people not pre-registering. Now, if drivers, please, I'm begging you, and I'm saying this on behalf of myself, all the staff, and the Racers Board themselves. On the website, ccsdirtracing.com. There is a place where you can download the form to pre-register. Please do us all a favor and pre-register for the upcoming season, which starts on May 1st. Now, obviously, the stock cars and sport compacts can get that out of the way on April 4th, but the rest of you, please be on there and do this because this is going to be the biggest year Crawford County Speedway's ever had.
And minors, get your adult releases signed.
Yes, please.
Hey, BJ, what about a shakedown date for those that aren't racing as a support class on April 4th on that Saturday race with the Deery Brothers? What about a shakedown date? Has that been finalized?
Yes, that's going to be April, I believe, 24th, which is a Friday night. That's the night before Shelby County Speedway season opener. They're going to have a shakedown date. And then the following Friday, we tune it up for the 2015 season. And I'll tell you what, we got 12 point-staying events. We've got 18 events total. I mean, you're talking stuff like the USMTS on May 21st. You're talking about the new National Sprint League that's going to be in town on July 24th, which is the Friday night affair, which means our points night, as has been the past couple of years, will be on Thursday. But the big one, and this is actually the Crawford County Fair Board that brought this in, and kudos to them. we have on June 12th, Friday night, June 12th, there will be no regular points racing because we have the big boys with the big wings. The World of Outlaws sprint cars are coming to the Crawford County Speedway in Denison, Iowa. And I'm telling you right now, this is the biggest event that's ever hit that track.
It seems like Crawford County kind of took a little bit of a page from Joe Koziski, and they're starting to add a little bit of specials to their regular great weekly racing, which kind of makes it so that people can come out and see these big specials like the World of Outlaws, like the USMTS and the Deery Brothers, and get hooked for weekly racing action on a Friday night.
Exactly. And, it's beautiful because this kind of builds in a couple of off nights for the guys to kind of work on their stuff a little bit or if they want to venture to a different track. But it also gives us a chance to see these big specials. The USMTS hasn't been back in years. This is the first year for the National Sprint League, and they're going to be coming. Obviously, this is the first time ever for the World of Outlaws at Crawford County. I mean, this is just amazingly huge this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year, and I'm really excited for you guys down there. Definitely have that place headed in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's also kind of good because July 31st will be the season finale unless we get a couple of rainouts. The beautiful part is we have at least 2 or 3 weeks in August that we can use as rainout dates before we have a special on August 28th, which is the night before the Tiny Lund, and the Friday before the Super Nats. Now, I can't yet announce exactly what that special is going to be, but let's just say it's not a memorial race, it's an honor race, and it's someone that very much deserves this honor. And then, of course, on October 3rd, we also have our annual Oktoberfest coming up.
All right, that's a big race schedule for you guys. Crawford County Speedway, Denison, Iowa on Facebook. PJ, we do appreciate you joining us, and best of luck. You're in the booth at Crawford County on Friday nights, and then you're in the pits at Shelby County on Saturday nights, right?
That's right, and make sure you check out racescs.com for Shelby County updates and ccsdirtracing.com for Crawford County Speedway updates.
PJ,
and please, pre-register on both tracks, please.
Absolutely. Thanks, buddy. Have a great one.
You too.
PJ Pederson of Crawford County Speedway and Shelby County Speedway. Great guy, great announcer, and all around, I can't say enough good things about him.
Be an interesting concept, leaving the month of August open like that for rainouts.
I think, as much as I hate to say it, I think that's a smart thing because the way that we've been getting rained out last couple of years, it's smart. I think it's smart. But now that they've done that, they probably won't get rained out, and we'll have a dry summer. So, all right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back at turn number 4. Chad Robb to talk to us about his NASCAR fantasy tips. We'll be back here on the front stretch.
Sports fans, the brightest stars of NASCAR are about to light up the night again at Kansas Speedway. Megastars Dave, Danica, Carl, Clint, Jeff, and more. Saturday, May 9th, it's our second annual NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race. Parking is free and coolers welcome. Tickets on sale now with even more seats for $99 or less. Kids tickets just $29. Call 866-460-RACE or visit KansasSpeedway.com today.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Koziski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Just about ready to wrap this baby up. We're heading into turn number 4, brought to you by the official watering hole of the front stretch, Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. All the green flag action for today's race at Auto Club Speedway is on the big screens at Quaker Steak and Lube. Green flag at about 2:30. Pre-race starts about 1:30 on Fox. And let's see, radio broadcast is MRN today, so you can pick that up on your MRN app or anywhere you can pick up MRN locally. So make sure you get down to Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs for all of the green flag action for the NASCAR race today at Auto Club Speedway. All right, we're joined now by a now more tan Chad Robb, Mr. Fantasy, back from California. I didn't realize you guys had Fantasy League summits and conferences like that. Was that kind of what it was, or?
It was a Yahoo summit. What they did is they brought all their sponsors out, and they needed an expert to come out, talk to them, and kind of fill them in on how the games are played and everything.
Okay.
And last year I was inducted into the Fantasy Sports Hall of Fame. And so out of the 28 million people that play fantasy sports, they chose me.
Wow, that's quite the honor.
Yeah, it was great.
And just out of curiosity, is it because of your track record or the amount of times you've been, the length of time you've been doing it? What was the criteria for being inducted?
It was my experience playing fantasy sports. I've been playing for 30 years. And then my following. I got quite a bit of a following on social networks.
Yep.
And then pretty much my record in fantasy sports. And my specialty is fantasy NASCAR, but I play pretty much everything.
Yeah. And you do a great job on your fantasy page, by the way, keeping everybody up to date with recommendations for fantasy, for Yahoo, and for all the different kinds of fantasy leagues there are out there. It's got to be tough keeping them straight.
Well, I've been doing it for a while, so
That's true.
There's a method to my madness.
We want to talk to you today. Kind of, what did you gain, or what did you get out of the trip to California for this Yahoo Fantasy? Are there going to be some changes for next year's execution for the league?
Well, that was the one thing that was really cool. I got to meet all the people behind the scenes, you know, that set up the games and kind of put them together the way that they're played. And before I went out there, I went on my Facebook page and asked my fans, you know, what their recommendations were to make the game better. So I passed that feedback on to the people from Yahoo, and fingers crossed they do the stuff that the fans really want.
And by the way, if you want to follow Chad on Facebook, it is NASCAR Tips from Chad. Is all one word. Just search that in your search bar, and he'll pop up. Or you can go over to the Front Stretch Facebook page. We got a link to him up every week that we post his tips, because you do a great job helping out our guys too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I try to help out as many people as I can. You know, I've been doing this for a while, and I just like to see everybody have fun doing it and see the fancy NASCAR, you know, grow.
And I'm sure Yahoo thought we had our game together, right?
Yeah. I gave you guys a plug out there.
Oh, thank you.
Gave them some recommendations.
It's about as simple as I can make it, but I've begun to realize with as many people as we have it in this year, if it grows any more, I'm going to have to change it up for next year, because it seems like weekly now I'm sending out, oops, I forgot this, and oops, I missed that, and sorry guys, and it's getting a little bit outside of what I can handle, but I'll try to have to make things a little more efficient. But let's talk about tips for the Auto Club 400 at Fontana. This is a wide track.
Yes.
So what kind of driver does this suit?
A driver who could take care of his tires, because this place will eat up the tires quick. We saw that last year. You know, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvicks had fast cars last year. They should have won the race, but they couldn't because they couldn't take care of their tires. So you got to kind of watch, you know, the Matt Kenseth. And actually the best driver at California isn't racing this week. That'd be Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
He owns this place. But without him in the field, it kind of opens it up for some other drivers.
Do you expect sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Kyle Larson's going to be a guy that really likes that track.
When I was doing my evaluations for California, the one thing I did is I picked out the guys from out west. It seems like the guys from California, Las Vegas, that area out there, they always do well here. So that's why I kind of focus on the Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Larson.
And when you're, we'll get to your top 5 drivers you recommended for Phoenix. Larson is left off of there, and I kind of wanted to explore a reason why. Was it because of lack of experience at this track, and that maybe not being able to save his tires?
Yes, I looked at the way he's been driving this year, and it just seems like he's afraid to take the chance, you know, really to push the car to get it up front. And last year he came in the first couple races driving, you know,
he was
driving
like
the wheels off the car. I mean, if there wasn't a fence, he would have even went farther outside the track.
Well, he battled Kyle Busch at this race last year for the win, and it came down to some pretty rough, I wouldn't say rough racing, but some pretty stout racing between these two.
And not only that, he dominated an Xfinity Series race out there. So he actually had a chance to sweep the weekend last year. and he came very close to doing it.
So, Dirk, have you been out to Auto Club as an official before? What's your takes on that track?
It's a cookie cutter. It's a duplicate of Michigan. Mm-hmm. So any of the cars that you usually see that do good at Michigan, like, we talked about Earnhardt, how he was fast there, and he's had some success at Michigan. The speeds are ungodly, but with the new package, it's hard to see. I mean, cars going into turn one at this track were like 212 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So how much that's going to slow down, you don't know. But they haul, and it's, like I said, it's a big, wide. To me, it's got to be fun when you drive like that, because you can go just about anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Is this a 3-groove track? It feels like it, from what I remember last year, that you can really work the low line, the middle, and the top.
Well, yeah, but the middle's so wide, it's like 5 grooves just for the middle. There's a lot of racing room.
Let's see. Auto Club last year, your top 5: Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, and Tony Stewart. Chad, I got to ask this as a Tony Stewart fan. Any ideas if he's going to snap out of this anytime soon? He's coming to some tracks that he likes.
He looked like he was coming out of it, last week until he got into Justin Allgaier.
Yeah.
And I just have a hard time seeing him struggling all year long. Mm-hmm. He did really good at Auto Club last year. He did really good at Martinsville last year, where they're going next. So I wouldn't put it past Smoke to make his way to the front pretty soon.
I want him to. I'm about tired as a Smoke fan of seeing him back in the 30s. It's tough to be a Smoke. I guess this is kind of what it feels like to be a Jets fan.
You going to have to jump ship?
No. Well, I'm staying with the organization, so I've still got Kevin that I root for, but I'll always be Tony. I've always got my Tony shrine.
I thought you were rooting for Danica all the time.
Just because I named my cat after her, no, I'm still not rooting for I like Danica. She'll break through eventually. She's doing well, but she's not very happy right now. But Chad, who's your top 5 picks for this weekend at Auto Club?
I like Kevin Harvick. You got to talk about the elephant in the room. Is anybody ever going to stop this guy? I mean, people ask me, should I keep using Harvick? Should I go somewhere else? When you got a guy that's almost guaranteed a first or second place finish every week, you got to keep rolling with him.
I was asking Dirk in turn number 1, and you're a stats guy. Is this a record? I mean, he's 7 races now?
Almost.
In the top 2?
I believe in 1975, Richard Petty did it 11 times. They had it on TV yesterday. Richard Petty did it 8 times, like 3 times.
Okay.
So if he could do it, one more time, then he'll be tied for second. So
you got Harvick as your top pick. If you can use him in the Pick'ems contest, just keep in mind that you can only use a driver once in 5 races. So we're still not at the point where you can reuse a driver yet.
The drivers I'd recommend for the Pick'ems contest today, I like Kurt Busch. He ran this race really well last year.
Yeah.
He actually was leading with 2 laps left, and he started racing Tony Stewart, and the 2 Kyles, Busch and Larson, kind of went around him while they were fighting each other as teammates. I don't know why that happened. But anyway, I like Kurt Busch. I like Kyle Larson is a good pick for this kind of Pick'ems contest. And Matt Kenseth. I think he's going to take care of his tires. He ain't going to lead, a lot of laps, but he'll be there at the end.
Yeah, he seems to do that every once in a while. He just seems all of a sudden he's sticking around the top 10, and then he's all of a sudden the last set of pit stops, there's Kenseth. He's up in the battling for the win. All right, so we got Martinsville, Texas, Bristol, Richmond, and Talladega coming up next. What else do you want to give tips as far as fantasy tips for Auto Club Speedway? You got anything else for us?
For Auto Club, I'd just say stick with the Chevys. And if you're not going to go with the Chevy, go with the Penske cars. It seems like the Chevys and the Penske cars are the only cars running up front. Toyota didn't even finish in the top 10 last week.
Yeah.
And they're not too happy about it.
And now, who's the final 4 teams?
The final 4? Wow, I got Kentucky, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Iowa State.
Ooh, you got Iowa State going to the Final 4.
If they can get by Duke, I think they can get in there.
By the way, I wanted to give a plug to our official watering hole. It's going to be hectic downtown Omaha. It has been the weekend, and then as the March Madness continues, I'll tell you this. I have been to Quaker Steak so many times, and I have gotten served promptly every single time. A Friday, Saturday night, there's a wait. I think there's like 600 people that can fit into that place. So you go to your sports bars around town, and there's a standing room only, and it takes forever. Not a Quaker Steak and Lube. So just one last sponsor plug.
Well, and I mean, Sunday for the race is when basketball games will be going on down at the Clink.
Yeah.
So, the crowd shouldn't be quite so bad, especially for the basketball portion of it.
All right, and Chad, we do appreciate it as always joining us here on the front stretch. And so, as we had a few more minutes left in the show, I wanted to clarify one rule or one thing about the Pick'ems contest. I sent out an email earlier this week. If you're a part of the Pick'ems contest, something we changed this year is win and you're in, and that was kind of the theme as far as the 2013 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series points rules went. And there was this kind of asterisk, and our asterisk is that we're only letting 15 people into the postseason chase. Anybody outside the top 15 can still keep picking, but the championship is for the top 15, and it was win and you're in. Well, now because 17 people took Kevin Harvicks at Phoenix, I have 19 winners, people who have race wins. So now it's going to come down to win more and you're in. So get more than one win, I thought one win would get you in, but that's clearly not going to work now because there's 4 people that are sitting outside of the Pick'ems contest playoff system. So 2 wins will probably guarantee you. I think 3 wins you'll be fine.
Oh, so I'll be good with my 12 wins.
I think so. You should be pretty good with that. So that's just a little clarification on the rules contest. You still have time to get into the Pick'ems contest. You can send me an email right now because we did secure our next Pick'ems contest, and it's Iowa Speedway tickets. I'm just going to work out when we're going to give those away, and it should be starting the week after we finish up the Spring Meltdown contest. So these little 4 or 5 week contests popping up throughout the season. Anybody can join at any time, and your picks for your season long do not have any consequence on your 5-week contest or your 4-week contest. So feel free to send us an email, frontstretch590@gmail.com. Chad, Mr. Fantasy, head over to NASCAR Fantasy Tips. Sorry, I screw it up every time. Say it for me.
Chad's Fantasy NASCAR Tips.
There you go.
Or you could follow me on Twitter at Mr. Fantasy NASCAR.
That's something I don't do. I can't do the Twitter. I try it. I've tried it. I guess I've reached that age that I just can't decode what people are saying on Twitter. So I've neglected the Twitter world.
Hashtag.
I don't get it. I'm 32 and I don't get it. All right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Again, all the green flag action for the Auto Club 400 at Fontana is on the big screens at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. Pre-race at 1:30 on Fox and on MRN with the green flag just after 2:30. For Dirk Houston, I'm Dan Taylor. Chad, once more, thank you so much for coming in today. This has been The Front Stretch presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he's talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100 plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.